Most small businesses invest a ton in their brand and still feel invisible. And the most common reason they give is execution: the wrong logo, the wrong colors, or the wrong website. But execution was never the real problem. The real problem is that most businesses are building on top of an identity that they never actually chose. And no amount of design work can ever fix that. Someone posted this in a small business subreddit that makes this point exactly, and I want to walk through what I'd do if I were them. Someone posted, "I feel like my brand identity has gone off the rails. I'm not sure if I should work on rebranding to realign with my original purpose or embrace the market where I find myself now." They started their business focused on event planning tools and environmental design, websites, digital signage, and interior maps for event spaces. Then COVID hit. They pivoted to compliance tools for events, then compliance tools for businesses, then software to manage PPP loans and financial reporting, then general regulatory compliance technology. Each pivot made sense in the moment, and each one kept the business alive. But 3 years later, their customer base is almost entirely enterprise companies in highly regulated industries, a complete shift from the playful, creative event design business they originally set out to build. Their question was simple: should I rebrand to match the niche where I find myself now, while getting my logo and website to be more serious and less playful, or try to refresh my brand to attract more of the creative types? Even though there's only one upvote, 2 comments, I think this situation is more common than what the engagement shows. The way this owner is framing the problem is as a choice between 2 brands: the playful, creative events identity that they started with, or this serious, compliance-driven identity that the market pushed upon them. So the question becomes, which logo, which website tone, and which visual direction matches the business that they're actually running now? That's a real question, but it's the wrong first question, because choosing between 2 visual identities assumes that the problem is aesthetic. That somewhere between event design and compliance software, the issue is just which look to commit to. It isn't. The deeper issue is that neither identity was ever chosen. One was the original idea. The other was where the market pushed them during a crisis. Picking between 2 unexamined identities doesn't solve the underlying problem. It just picks which unexamined identity to commit to more visibly. There's a concept from developmental psychology called identity foreclosure. It describes what happens when someone adopts an identity that was handed to them, by circumstance, by expectation, by whatever path required the least resistance, without ever actually choosing it themselves. This owner's story is foreclosure happening to a business in real time. They didn't choose to become a compliance software company. The COVID shutdown happened, they pivoted to survive, then another pivot led to another, and 3 years later, they're running an enterprise compliance business that doesn't resemble the original vision at all. That's not a failure, that's what staying in business during a crisis often requires. But it also means the current identity was never actually decided. It accumulated. In the original identity, the playful creative events business wasn't originally chosen either. It was just the first idea, untested against what the market actually wanted from them. So the real question isn't which of these 2 identities to rebrand towards. It's whether either of them was ever genuinely theirs to begin with. So how does an owner in this situation work their way through it? We can consider this sequence in 3 steps. Step 1, separate what you built from what you chose. This owner has real expertise now: regulatory compliance, financial reporting systems, and enterprise software for highly regulated industries. That expertise is genuine and valuable regardless of how they got there. The question isn't whether their compliance work is legitimate. It's whether running a compliance software company is something that they actually want to keep building, or something that they just fell into and have been successful with out of momentum rather than choice. Step 2, find what's true across both versions of the business. Most owners in this position assume they have to pick one identity and abandon the other. But look closer at what actually carried over from the events business to the compliance business. This owner built websites, digital tools, and systems that made complicated logistics manageable for clients. That thread of making complicated operation problems simple through good systems runs through both the events work and the compliance work. That thread isn't aesthetic. It's not playful versus serious. It's a genuine capability that exists within both versions of the business. Step 3, rebrand towards the thread, not towards the market. Once you find what's actually true across both versions, the whole rebranding question changes entirely. It's no longer a playful events brand versus serious compliance brand. It becomes, what does a brand look like that's built around making complicated things simple for clients, regardless of what industry they're coming from. That identity can flex into event work, compliance work, or whatever sort of work they may need to pivot into in the future, because it's based on a real capability and not just a market category. This owner's original question wasn't really about logos or tones. It was about whether to keep rolling with an identity they got back into, or to finally decide what they wanted to build. Most businesses don't end up looking generic because they lack creativity. They end up there because, like this owner, life happens. A pandemic, a pivot, a client who pays well in a direction they never planned to go, and the identity just accumulates without anyone deciding it on purpose. So before the next video, if your business has changed over the past few years, write down what's actually stayed true across every version of it. Not the market you served or the services you offered, but the underlying thing you were actually good at the entire time. That's what your brand should be built around, not whichever market you happen to be standing in today. If you're working through something similar in your business and want a fresh set of eyes on it, link with me on my website so we can work it out together.